up guys, welcome back to another video. For today's video we're going to be reviewing a medium format digital camera, the Hasselblad X1D II. Fine folks over at Hasselblad reached out to me via email a few weeks back and said, hey, would you be interested in using this camera? And I don't know about you, but there's not many times or opportunities where I would have the chance to shoot such a luxurious item. So I said, yes, of course. This video is not sponsored. They did not pay me to say any of this. So I'm going to give you my real thoughts and my real experience with this camera so far. For this video, we're doing something kind of special. We are shooting it here on the family farm that I live on. So right outside my driveway, every day I walk out my door to walk my dog or to take photos on this gorgeous farm. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of the loop or the walk that I take many nights a week during golden hour to take some photos. Some things that I want to let you guys know about the camera before we go on the walk is, like I said a moment ago, it is a medium format digital camera, and this camera does boast a mighty 50 megapixel sensor inside this body. I am going to be shooting on the Hasselblad XCD 45mm 3.5 lens. For those of you who may not be familiar with Hasselblad, they are a legendary camera company and they are known for their lenses. We are going to get into the specs and more of my in-depth thoughts after the walk, but one thing I can say off the rip is the lens is just absolutely incredible. So I'm excited for you guys to see some photos from this 45mm lens. Also, we're joined by my best friend in the entire world tonight. Louis, come here. Come here, bud. Come here. What a heavy roast. Come here. Louis, come here. Also known as Lou. Some quick specs on Lou. He is a toy poodle. He is 6.5 pounds and he loves a good golden hour walk. Ready? Okay, I think he's ready. Let's go. Ching. All right, come on. Come on. All right, looking for the first photo here. Okay, by going in this gate, we are now going into cow territory. So, if we get stampeded, thank you for all the support on the channel. Come on, buddy. Oh, watch your step also. I haven't shot a digital camera in so long and I'm already like just looking at every photo immediately after I take it. Gonna give you guys a test at 3.5. So I always like to let you guys know when we have some pretty big mistakes or failures, just to let you guys know what all goes into a YouTube channel. I don't know what actually happened, but I'm going to show you a photo here in a few seconds. But Drew will insert the current battle that we're facing for all of you video guys. So yeah, hopefully you guys like this video because we're walking around hills and the farm with a laptop. Thank you, Evan. We're going to talk about bokeh or bokeh or however you pronounce it. It's not something that I'm necessarily always into, but since we're not shooting film and I can take as many photos as I want, we're going to see what the 3.5 can do right here, and what better place to test some bokeh than on some flowers. So my lovely aunt has some lovely flowers here and we're going to see what a Hasselblad lens has to say about it. What do you think, Lou? Lou does not care. Or does he? Dude, I've gotta quit looking at the screen after I take a picture every time. Loading up a fresh roll here. Ran out of frames.
All right, we're back.
Can you get out of my photo, bud? Can you move for dad just a little bit to the left? Toy poodles, man. So I hope you guys enjoyed some of those photos. I just wanted to put a little portion of the video as a walk around just so you guys could kind of come along for the journey. I know everybody enjoys that, but now it is time to get down to the nitty gritty, the specs, the things that I do love about this camera, the things that I don't love so much about this camera. Keeping with the tradition of things, we only bring the highest of quality videos and excellence of gear reviews to you. So keeping in that tradition, I last minute found these two pieces of paper in my office, and I wrote down quickly the things that I do love and the things that I do not love. So let's get into it now. The first thing on the list that I wrote here really has nothing to do with the gear or specs or any of that. Simply just had everything to do with the brand of Hasselblad itself. It is an absolutely iconic camera company. For those of you who are not aware, they were the camera that was on the moon. They have an awesome name. They're in Sweden. So for an American, there's just so much allure or something magical about using a Hasselblad, and it really lives up to it. The X1D is a medium format digital camera, and there is a 50 megapixel sensor in this body. So what's not to love about more megapixels? And that was the first thing that was incredibly evident. The images are just razor sharp. I know that photography and cameras will probably continue to advance, but I don't really see how it could get much better than this in terms of just resolution and just an outrageous amount of sharpness in the images that this camera produces. So that's awesome. What's not to love about that? Another thing that I read on Hasselblad's website is that this camera is capable of 14 stops of dynamic range. I didn't really get to push that to the limits, but I did have a few moments where I could tell it really can handle a ton of stops. So that's always another good thing to have. Next on the list was the EVF, or the electronic viewfinder. I've had a lot of viewfinders that I did not love, but this one is great. Have nothing to say bad about the EVF. It just ticks all boxes, 10 out of 10 on that front. This camera also boasts some built-in Wi-Fi capabilities, meaning you can transfer any of your RAW or your JPEG files that you need to say your iPad or anything of that nature, which is another awesome feature. We're also rocking dual SD slots, which actually happened while we were walking around the farm tonight. I ran out of space on one memory card, so I was able to just slip another one in there. So dual SD slots is great. The next thing that I would probably want to address would be the lenses. Hasselblad, being an absolutely iconic camera company, is also very well known for their lenses. The lens that I was using the most was the 45mm 3.5 XCD lens, and like I said, cannot complain at all about the lenses. I don't think anybody would ever shoot this lens and think, wow, it's not sharp enough. So 10 out of 10 on the lens as well. The next thing I want to talk about is the design and the build of the camera. I tried to find it on Hasselblad's website or other places exactly what it is built of. It just said basically a multitude of high quality metals, and that is absolutely true. The camera build is amazing. For me, it's very important that a camera just feels good in my hand, and this ticks every single box in terms of build and how it feels in my hand. So I know a lot of people might not care about that. Hey, it's a camera, it matters, the photos that it takes, but that's something that is important to me. If I'm going to invest a lot of money, which we're going to get to the price of this in just a moment, I do want it to look good. I do want it to feel good in my hand, and they really crushed it when it came to build quality and overall design. Shout out to that cow that just mooed. I hope you didn't hear that. The last thing that I really loved on this camera that was a total shock to me was the touchscreen. I'm not really a touchscreen guy. I prefer a wheel or a joystick or something of that nature. And if there was one thing I could change, it would be to add a joystick, because as much as I did grow to love the touchscreen and all of the features of how I could move things around the menu to my liking, I still would probably want a joystick or some kind of wheel, something physical on the back to maneuver my way around. But ultimately, the touchscreen after a few days grew on me, and I really came to enjoy it more than I ever thought I would. So that was a lot of things that I really enjoyed about this camera, but I want to let you guys know the things that I didn't love so much. First, off the bat, and this was undisputed, the thing that I did not like the most by a mile, and I also checked out some other reviews online, whether it was on YouTube or written articles, and this seems to be the #1 thing about this camera that people do not enjoy, and that is the autofocus. For some reason, the autofocus is just very slow on this camera. For me, I use a Canon 5D Mark III for digital work, which is a camera that is so far behind this camera in so many aspects, but for some reason, just the comparison, my 5D Mark III locks onto autofocus much faster and with much more success than this camera does. I found that to be incredibly strange and incredibly frustrating at times.
Grab focus.
Kind of in that same lane of thinking, the camera was slow in a lot of other ways too, whether it was when I clicked the shutter to take the photo, or just moving around certain aspects of the camera with the dials. I don't know any better way to say it. It just feels very slow. I actually thought I was being a little bit dramatic or maybe overblowing this, but when I did start to look at other reviews, I did see a lot of other people kind of trying to verbalize or communicate that thought, that it just feels slow. Granted, when I say things feel slow, that could be a literal half second or millisecond, but in the world of photography, that could be the difference between getting the photo or being incredibly frustrated on a shoot or with a model or whatever it may be. So that was something that did bother me ultimately, and I wanted to let you guys know. And now to the moment that we've all been waiting for. If you pause this video at any point so far and you maybe Google this camera, is the price. Besides the camera feeling slow and the autofocus issues that I encountered a few different times, the price really is the overwhelming negative for me on this camera. The body alone on this camera is $5,750 for the body alone. I, for one, am not a person that really is going to shy away when it comes to gear price. If I can't afford it and I want it, I'm going to save all my pennies. I'm going to take all the jobs I can get to get the gear that I want. But for this body and this price, it just seems somewhat steep. Don't get me wrong, this camera is absolutely amazing. Any friend that I've shown the body to, whether it was the touchscreen or the quality of the images that I was getting out of this, they all were mind blown. It is an amazing camera, but that is just a lot of money for me personally for body only. The next price that has to be addressed would be the lens. Obviously all lenses would differ in price, but for this lens specifically, which is the XCD 45mm 3.5 lens, I wrote it down here, is going for $2,695. I'm not a math genius, but with this lens and this body, we're running just south of around 9,000 US dollars. I want to continue to reiterate, amazing camera system. To own a Hasselblad medium format digital camera would be a super sick thing, and I'm super stoked to even be holding it, but that is just a lot of money for me, and I could never see myself justifying paying that much money for this system. So who is this camera for? Ultimately, if you have a lot of money to spend and you're looking for a travel rig or something to just take around that's compact and is going to yield incredible images, this camera is for you. I think it's a great travel camera. I think medium format digital rigs are amazing. I don't own one, but yeah, that's who this camera would be for. Unfortunately, it's not for me, but it was a super sick experience to test it out, and I am really glad I was able to have the experience. I'm gonna address all these noises right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I thought it would be a good idea to sit down and do it right here because it's getting to be summer and I like to sit out here some nights, but there's a lot of cows and lawnmowers and birds and motorcycles and birds. So sorry about all that, but it is what it is. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm gonna kill this bird. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Give the video a like. That really helps me out, and I appreciate it when you guys do that. As always, please be sure to follow me on Instagram to keep up with what's going on the channel, somewhere around here. And we'll see you guys for the next video. This digital stuff is just too easy, man. Get all the tries I want for all the exposures I want. get to check if my photos sucks or if it's good. My photos still suck.